Hey guys, I'm going to be doing a little maintenance and diagnostics on Henry's Silverwing. Here's kind of the situation. There really isn't a lot of movement. I don't know if you can tell how far this is actually moving. There isn't really a lot of movement on this brake. Now, because of the way brakes work, I have it narrowed down to a couple of things that it could be. I'm pretty sure I know what it is. But I'm going to go through some diagnostic stuff just in case you don't know how brakes work and you want to be able to diagnose something on your own brakes. Now, brakes are very, very important, especially when you've got hydraulic brakes like this. Any kind of error in the line or any kind of seal that isn't functioning as it should can cause your brakes to not work. So we're going to go over a couple of things and then we'll kind of try to diagnose these brakes and see what's up with them. If you don't understand how hydraulic brakes work, if you pretend that this side that has the fluid in it is your master cylinder, and this is your brake lever, you have your brake line, and you have your caliper piston, okay? There are seals in the bore of your master cylinder where there's a piston in there that moves. There is a piston in here. It also has seals. Now, crazily enough, I don't know if you've ever seen the seals inside of a caliper, but they kind of just look like a rubber band, and it does not seem like they would be able to retract this back and forth, but they do. So here's kind of basically how it works. If this is your piston here, and this is your lever, when you squeeze this lever, push it out, the piston and the brake caliper will go out. That's what makes you stop. When you let off of that lever, because this has its little seal in there, it will force this to retract on its own. If something is stuck, say your piston can't come out, it's stuck, and you try to push this, you can see it's very, very hard to push. Nothing happened. Now that we've covered a little bit of how the hydraulic brake system works, you can tell that based on the symptoms he's having with his brakes, either the piston isn't able to go out or the fluid is not able to move, which could be a problem with the piston. It could be stuck inside the bore of the master cylinder, or like I said, it could be a problem with the actual piston in the caliper. I have the bike on the center stand. I've put a jack underneath it to lift the front wheel up a little bit, and that allows me to move this and make sure that it is actually rolling freely. And I hear a little bit of drag, but it's nothing that I would be super concerned about. But I did want to make sure if there were a piston that was stuck out and not retracting, it would have more of a drag sound, or the wheel would not rotate freely. As you can tell, it spins fine on its own. So the next thing I'm going to do is to apply the brake and see what happens. So, squeezing, and it does not feel like a good braking action. It does kind of lock it up, but not really. I can always still kind of move it. There, I finally can't. Okay, so down here at the bike, I've hooked up a hose to my bleeder, and I'm gonna squeeze in the lever, and I'm gonna open the bleeder while holding the lever in and see if the lever will go all the way to the grip, which it should. Okay, yep. All right, so that's telling me that it is able to go all the way in. So it's telling me the piston isn't stuck within the bore, because it's allowing it to push on in so that the lever can collapse. So now we're going to go on to another thing. We're going to take a look up top and see what's going on. Alright, so I've taken these screws out. Now I'm going to take off this cap. And you always want to have a towel handy, because if it drips on paint and things and you don't get it off immediately, it's not great. It can peel it and make it nasty. Alright. The first thing that I see here is that my diaphragm is expanded. Now, this typically indicates that your brake pads are wearing, because as your brake pads wear, the pistons and the calipers will need to come out further and further, so that takes up more and more of this kind of sucks this out. And this should not look like this. It should look like, let's go back in here, tucked in. This should be pretty flat like that. So as I look down in here, it looks a little cloudy. All right, so if you can see this cloudy stuff in here, it's kind of chunky. I can actually scoot it around. I think I'm gonna have to take this apart, sad face, and clean this out. Because I need to clean out this reservoir and the piston and the whole 9 yards, I'm gonna go ahead and take the whole assembly off. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna suck this brake fluid out of here, because one of the first things you wanna ask yourself is, how can I not have to clean this up? So I'm gonna suck this out. I'm gonna put a towel in there just to keep anything from kind of sloshing out. Have a towel laid underneath it to catch anything. I'm gonna take off the brake line first, because I'll need to have this tight so I have enough leverage to get it off. I'm gonna use this twisty thing, and I'm gonna secure it to the handlebar in an upright position so I hopefully lose as little brake fluid as possible, because I don't wanna have to clean that up. I don't want it to mess up paint or anything like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take off the actual lever itself with these 2 Allens. So I'm gonna take all of this apart, I'm gonna get it over to the bench, and I'm gonna take a look and see what's going on. All right, so I've already spotted another problem, and that is I have this off and I can tip it and fluid comes out. It actually poured out a lot more earlier. It's pretty much stopped dripping now, but that shouldn't happen. You're gonna have a little bit of fluid in there that should come out, but it shouldn't just continue to pour out. That would mean that your seals are not functioning properly and that it's just letting the fluid flow out. Alright, so I'm going to continue my deduction of what's wrong with the brakes. I'm going to go ahead and remove the calipers because I'm pretty sure that there is a stuck piston in there. And I'm already going to have to flush all of the fluid and everything out, so I'm going to go ahead and take those apart. I'm going to inspect the brake pads and see if there's any uneven wear. Then I'm going to keep going. Okay, so my rebuild parts for my brakes came even faster than I thought. I was pretty impressed. They weren't even supposed to be here until today through the next 2 days, so I was pretty happy that they went ahead and came on in. It's kind of nice that I ordered them all from the same place. I did order them through Amazon, but they're all Brake Crafters products, so it was really nice when they came in and they sent them all in a single box. So both calipers as well as the master cylinder were all right there together, which was really kind of cool. Now I have my master cylinder laid out. My new parts are down here. The parts I'm reusing are here in the middle, and the old parts I'm replacing are up here at the top. And I have these laid out in the same order to make sure that all of the parts look the same. Sometimes you'll have one of these pistons that has more than one little seal on it. Sometimes it's just like this. So you just need to make sure that whatever kit you get matches up. Alright, now that we've got this all back together, we're going to test this before we put it back on the bike. There's nothing worse than rebuilding something and then you get it all installed and it doesn't work and it leaks. It's not fun at all. Ask me how I know that. So we're going to hold our finger over here and we're going to pump this a fair number of times. When you remove your finger from the end after you've pumped it up, you should have fluid shoot out. And it'll make a little noise, you'll hear it. You don't want fluid to just be dribbling out. As you can see, it's not. That means our seals are in place and they're sealing properly. So let's go ahead and test this. So I'm holding my thumb over this, and you can see as I pump, there's little bubbles that are coming up. That's good. That's taking up the airspace and making sure that the entire cylinder there is being free of air. Alright, so I can feel this on my thumb as I'm holding it. That did not work. Remember that brakes are a sealed system. There's no room for air, there's no room for moisture. If you have either of those things in there, it can cause your system to fail. And that's why you have the diaphragm that goes on top of your reservoir cup, and then you have the cap. Don't make the mistake of thinking that this little slot in the cap is going to let air into your system. It doesn't. It's there as a relief for your diaphragm. So as your diaphragm moves down, it needs to be able to come up. Otherwise, you'd have a vacuum lock and your brakes would not work properly. One of the things you want to be sure that you do before you assemble your caliper is to make sure that you've cleaned everything really thoroughly. You want to be careful that you don't use anything abrasive or scratchy in the bore where the piston is going to go. You want to make sure that all of the little grooves, like right in here where your O-rings are going to go, that they are, I guess they're not really O-rings, they're brake seals, but you want to make sure that that's really clean in there too, so that they can seat all the way and give you the maximum amount of room to get that piston back in, because it's going to be a challenge, but you can do it. Henry's going to put up a couple of videos so you can watch more Vintage Vixen. Take this guy in for a little light reading tonight. Yeah.